Your Japanese friend Ken asks, プロジェクトはどう? How's your project going? Your friend Ken's little sister Amy is a professional translator and she helped you with your project. Amy は役に立った? Was Amy helpful? Thanks to her, the project finished ahead of the schedule, so you happily tell Ken, エミさんのせいでプロジェクトが早く終わったんだ. Because of Amy, the project finished early. Ken suddenly looks surprised. You are a bit confused, but now you show him the bonus you received. これもエミさんのせいです. This is also because of Amy. Now he looks even more upset. Wait, what did I say wrong? Doesn't せいで mean because of? Now, you wanted to explain that your team worked so efficiently that the second project was no longer needed. This time, you try to use another word for because of and say, エミさんのおかげで次のプロジェクトがキャンセルになった. Ken doesn't look happy at all. What did I say this time? せいで、おかげで, and ために all mean because of. But if you've ever wondered when to use each one, you are not alone. By the end of this video, you will know exactly which one to use and why these sentences gave Ken completely different impressions. Do you know how to say shade in Japanese? It's kage. おかげで literally means kage, shade, and adding o for politeness. The idea is that someone's help is like being protected from the sun by shade. That's why おかげで means to describe gratitude or appreciation. So when you hear おかげで, think, I'm glad this person or thing helped me. Let's first look at an example. 天気が良かったおかげで楽しい一日を過ごせました. What do you think this means? It means because of the good weather, we were able to have a fun day. おかげで is used when the reason is something you feel grateful for and the result is positive. Here's how to form a sentence with おかげで. Use a noun plus no, an adjective in a modified noun form, or a plain form verb, followed by おかげで, and then the result. The result is usually positive and often reflects your appreciation for the reason. Let's look at some more examples. みんなが頑張っているおかげでプロジェクトが早く終わりそうです. Because everyone is working hard, it looks like the project may finish early. おかげで implies appreciation for everyone's hard work. A positive outcome of their effort is the prospect of the project being completed early. 山田先生のおかげで元気になりました. What does this mean? That's right. It means I got better because of Dr. Yamada. But what exactly did Dr. Yamada do? Maybe Dr. Yamada is a doctor who helped you recover from an illness. Or perhaps he's a teacher who encouraged you when you were feeling down. We don't know the details, but we know one thing. Dr. Yamada contributed to a positive outcome, and you are grateful. That's why おかげで is used. So what happens if you talk about negative consequence? For example, 山田先生のおかげでもっと気分が悪くなりました. Does this make sense at all? If so, what do you think it means? It means my condition became even worse because of Dr. Yamada. Can we really use おかげで here? When you use おかげで for a negative outcome, it becomes sarcastic or ironic. In other words, you are not really expressing gratitude. You are actually blaming Dr. Yamada while pretending to thank him. So what if Dr. Yamada genuinely tried to help and you still appreciate your efforts even though things didn't turn out well? In that case, a sentence like the following works much better. 山田先生が力を尽くしてくれましたが、もっと気分が悪くなりました。Dr. Yamada did his best, but my condition became even worse. This sentence acknowledges Dr. Yamada's effort and good intentions, while honestly describing the unfortunate result. So remember, おかげで normally introduces a positive result that you appreciate. When used with a negative result, it creates sarcasm or irony. Now, let's look at せいで next. 部屋が汚かったせいで彼女に嫌われた。Because the room was dirty, my girlfriend came to dislike me. Here, the reason leads to a negative outcome. But there is something more to せいで than simply saying because. せいで often puts the blame on a particular reason. It can single out one person or one thing at the cause of the negative result, as if to say, this is what caused the problem. So rather than simply explaining why something happened, せいで can have a sense of blame or accusation. Here's another example. 部長のせいでボーナスをカットされた。What do you think this means? It means the bonus was cut because of the department head. But notice the nuance. The speaker is blaming the department head for the bonus being cut, treating them as the source of the problem. And just like おかげで, せいで can follow a noun plus no, an adjective in a modified noun form, or a plain form verb. Another thing to notice is that negative consequence often takes the passive form, emphasizing that you are the victim who is affected by the negative outcome. So the key point is that せいで is used to blame a single cause, and it describes a negative outcome. When you hear せいで, think, whose fault is it? Now, let's look at another way Japanese expresses a reason and see how its nuance is different. 事故のために電車が遅れました。What do you think this means? It means the train was delayed because of the accident. So far, we've looked at a few different ways to say because of or due to in Japanese. But how is ために different from おかげで and せいで? Unlike those expressions, ために is generally used to make more objective statements. It's also more formal than the previous two expressions, and is commonly found in news report and official announcements. When ために is used to express a reason or cause, it can follow a noun plus no, an adjective in its modified noun form, or a plain form verb, just like おかげで and せいで. Here's another example. 今日は暑いためにアイスクリームの売り上げが上がりました。Because it was hot today, ice cream sales increased. Now, you might be wondering whether ために can replace おかげで or せいで to make a sentence sound more objective. That's a great question, and we will take a closer look at that next. 中村さんのおかげで今回は助かりました。Because of Miss Nakamura, I was able to get through it this time. Now, can we replace おかげで with ために? The answer is no. Why not? Why can I say 中村さんのおかげで, but 中村さんのために doesn't work with the same meaning? With ために, you need to state the reason more explicitly. Unlike おかげで, ために is neutral and simply describes a cause or reason. It does not express gratitude or appreciation by itself, so you need to explain what Miss Nakamura actually did. 中村さんが協力してくれたために今回は助かりました。Because Miss Nakamura helped me, I was able to get through it this time. Let's look at next example. あの人のせいで転びました。I fell because of that person. Can we replace せいで with ために? The answer again is no. Why? Again, ために expresses an objective reason. Simply saying あの人, that person, does not clearly explain the cause. You need to state what the person did. For example, あの人が押したために転びました。I fell because that person pushed me. There's another important usage of ために. Let's look at that next. 街の安全のためによく警察が見回りをしています。What do you think this means? Does it mean because of the town's safety? Actually, this is a different use of ために. Here, it expresses a purpose, not a reason. The sentence means, for the safety of the town, the police often patrol. In fact, ために is used more often to express purpose than a reason. There are some important differences between these two usages. When ために expresses a purpose, the person who has a purpose and the person who performs the action are the same. Let's look at an example describing a reason. 先月、犯罪が起きたために警察が見回りをしています。Because crimes occurred last month, the police are patrolling. In this sentence, the first clause describes a situation that happened last month. The people who committed the crimes are not the police, so the actors are different. Another important difference is what can come before ために. When ために expresses a purpose, it can be preceded only by a noun plus no, or the non-past plain form of a verb. Let's look at some more interesting sentences using ため、おかげ and せ next. テストがパスできたのは姉のおかげです。What do you think this means? You can also use おかげです at the end of a sentence like this. It means I was able to pass the test thanks to my older sister. This sentence expresses gratitude towards your older sister. It implies that she helped you in some way, which allowed you to pass the test. 停電は台風のせいかわかりません。Here, せいか is used instead of せいで when you are not certain about the cause. You suspect that something may be responsible, but you are not completely sure. This sentence means, I'm not sure whether the blackout was caused by the typhoon. The speaker suspects that the typhoon may be to blame, but does not know for certain. Here's one more example. 母親は子供たちのためクッキーを焼きました。Is this describing a reason or a purpose? It means the mother baked cookies for her children. In this sentence, ため expresses a purpose. The purpose of baking the cookies is for the children. Ni is often omitted after ため. Let's quickly recap. おかげで is used when you want to say, this is a good thing and appreciate the cause. せいで is used when you want to say, this is a bad thing and I'm blaming the cause. ために is used when you want to say, I'm simply telling you the cause. Okay, you now know enough to solve the mystery. So, why was Ken so upset? エミさんのせいでプロジェクトが早く終わったんだ。Because of Amy, the project finished early. Is finishing early actually a problem? No. So why did Ken hear this as a complaint? It's because you use the expression せいで. It's used when describing someone or something as a cause of a negative outcome. Even though you didn't explain exactly why the project finished early, せいで automatically gives the impression that the finishing early was a bad thing and that Amy was responsible for it. In other words, the sentence sounds as if you are blaming Amy for the project finishing early. That's why Ken was upset by your comment. He thought you were criticizing his sister instead of praising her. Then you wanted to explain that you received a special bonus for completing the project early and maintaining high quality, but once again you used the word せいで. You said, これもエミさんのせいです. This is also because of Amy. What does it sound like to a Japanese speaker? Once again, you are blaming Amy. As a result, Ken thinks that Amy must have done something wrong and caused the problem related to the bonus. Now you realize that せいで might not have been the right expression. So this time you say, エミさんのおかげで次のプロジェクトがキャンセルになった. Because of Amy, the next project became cancelled. The situation is actually positive. The first project was so successful that it accomplished work that had originally been planned for the second project. As a result, the second project was no longer necessary. However, you didn't explain any of that. You simply said that the next project was cancelled. Even though おかげで is used for positive outcome, Ken has already heard you use せいで several times when talking about Amy. Because of that, Ken starts to wonder if you are being sarcastic. He thinks you might be making a cynical remark. Let's go back in time and fix your Japanese. You should have said, エミさんのおかげでプロジェクトが早く終わったよ. Because of Amy, the project finished early. Now, Ken understands that Amy did a great job and helped make the project a success. Then you should explain, ボーナスもエミさんのおかげでたくさんもらったんだ. Thanks to Amy, we also received a large bonus. And then add, 次のプロジェクトの分の仕事までやってしまったんだ. We even completed the work that had been planned for the next project. Now, Ken is happy to hear about Amy's excellent work, and you feel grateful for him for introducing her to the project. So you say, エミさんを紹介してくれてありがとう. Thank you for introducing Amy to us. おごるから寿司太郎に行こう. It's on me. Let's go to 寿司太郎. You decide to treat Ken to the best sushi restaurant in town. It's expensive, but compared to the extra bonus you received, it's really nothing. 本当に? 行こう行こう. Oh, really? Let's go. Now there are no more misunderstandings, and your friendship remains as strong as ever. Let's quickly summarize what we've learned and test your understanding with a few quiz questions. Here's a quick summary. おかげで is used when you appreciate the cause of a positive outcome. Sometimes it can also be used with a negative result sarcastically. せいで, on the other hand, is used to blame a cause for a negative outcome. If you say せいか, you think something is probably the cause, but you are not completely sure. ために can also describe a cause and its outcome, but the statement is neutral. It doesn't imply appreciation or blame. ために can also be used to describe a purpose. In this case, the purpose and the action are performed by the same subject. If you need more time to read through the summary, feel free to pause the video. Now, let's do a quick quiz to check your understanding. Because of this dog, I found the key that I lost. この犬のおかげで、せいで、or ためになくした鍵が見つかりました. Which one would you use? Think about it for a moment, and if you need more time, feel free to pause the video. The answer is おかげで, but why? なくした鍵が見つかりました meaning I found the key that I lost describes a positive outcome. So we can safely rule out せいで which is used to blame a cause for a negative outcome. But why not ために? Because ために, when it describes a cause, is neutral. It doesn't express appreciation or blame. Without any additional context, simply saying that the dog was a cause doesn't really fit here. So the correct answer is おかげで、この犬のおかげでなくした鍵が見つかりました. Thanks to this dog, I found the key that I lost. Now, let's look at another one. 今晩寿司太郎でおまかせを食べるおかげで、せいで、or ために席を予約しました. What do you think? Take a moment to think about it and feel free to pause the video if you need more time. This sentence means I made a reservation in order to eat omakase at Sushi Taro this evening. The answer is ために, but why? Here, ために is not describing a cause. It's describing a purpose. You are making a reservation in order to eat omakase at Sushi Taro. There's nothing to appreciate or blame, so おかげで and せいに don't make any sense. So in this case, ために is a correct answer. because it expresses the purpose of the action. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe and turn on the notification so you never miss my new videos. You can also join my daily quizzes in the post section. Check out my Udemy courses for Japanese learning as well. Links are in the description below. Thank you for watching.